Good morning.
Good morning.
Good afternoon.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Noon.
Noon.
It's after
After noon.
noon. Just writing us a little L incense. I wish you could smell it.
Oh, so beautiful. Heavenly. Mm.
Just setting the vibe. Sunday. Here we are. Sundays at noon. Isn't that quite interesting? I'm Shiv, by the way.
And I'm Samaj.
So it's like it's smoky. It's a smoky experience today. Have we had a sound check, Samaj?
Yeah, I get. Would you like to check it?
No, I don't want to check it. I just
No,
want to make sure that it's okay.
Good. It's okay.
So yes, I'm Shiv.
And I'm Samaj.
Together with Feel Better Community. Together with you, of course. Doing things, learning about ourselves so that we can do the things that help us feel better so that we can do better and deal better. Quite often, we think that when we do better, we'll feel better. We've got it a bit turned around, really. When we start to do the things that help us feel better, then we start to do better. What's even more important is really knowing what are the things that help us make us feel better. And, you know, that can be challenging, can't it?
It can.
You're typing away there, like.
So
we're in a mindfulness. It's a mindfulness session, right?
Yeah.
So
Well, I was saying,
now he's being mindful to this because he was
saying
good morning and being mindful. So do say good morning or good afternoon wherever it is that you are, right? And can you hear me with both earsets in? Take one out.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
Yeah, they're not noise canceling.
Okay. So anyway, no, I can hear it.
Oh, you can hear it? I'll just turn it down.
It's really strange. I can hear myself in your ear.
No, you can't hear it, right?
No.
Okay.
I can't hear it now. So, the Sunday sit. Meeting ourselves at noon and doing that every week and just feeling how these weeks can clip by. Time evaporating is how I've been feeling this week, even this weekend. How do you feel? Let's do that right now. Let's take stock of that. Sunday morning, Sunday afternoon. How do we feel? Time compressed, a little short, little lacquered, hurried, a little, didn't get this done, not going to have time to get that done, wish I could have done this. What's on the list of wish you could have got it done? Right? So have a little think about that, and you can always jot that down afterwards. It's a really good exercise to start doing for the weekends, to realize the expectations you have of yourself and the conditions with which you have to work to achieve those expectations. And quite often, you're completely lacking in time. We were just talking about it before we came live, right? Working Monday to Friday right now, and also working out, which takes up a lot of time. And then come into the weekend, and even if you treated Saturday and Sunday as a work day, you would have 16 hours, which is not possible because there's other things to do, you know. So quite often we think we can do lots of things, but really we've only got, and we really would like to reset, relax, catch up with ourselves, because it's very easy for life to take off, and for us to be left kind of catching up. Always that bit behind. How I used to feel sometimes when we went riding up in Northern California. He is a bit faster than me. And so if I got myself into that mindset, I would always be feeling like, even though I was going at the same speed, that I was trying to catch up, and there's that energy of trying, which is really, really exhausting. Trying energy is very, very exhausting.
Yes, it is.
Because what it was happening is I was trying to keep up with his pace. My pace. And once I tap into my pace, which may well have been at the same speed because that was my pace, but accepting more that that was my pace rather than it not being fast enough to keep up with his pace. There's a difference up here as to how that translates, even though in practice it's the same speed. That's quite interesting, and that's why really we're here to like find our own way. This is not a prescription for you to do what we say. This is a discussion, sharing for us to come together and find what works for us. Yesterday on the Labyrinth drop, it was the message from the Labyrinth was walk my path, find your way. Pretty clever, right? Because yes, you are walking like in a prescriptive way, I suppose. You know, you're walking the path, but in order to find your own way. And I saw one lady coming out of the Labyrinth as I went back down after having coffee, and she said that she had been thinking about her life around the turns, and it was, I don't know how wide is that Labyrinth? I think it's like an 18 lane or something. It was a big one because it had a lot of sand, and so it took a moment to do. And really, if you're not familiar with the Labyrinth, you really do feel like, gosh, I'm never going. Like, I think I might as well just leave now, just when you want to. So there was a family of 3, and they were like, "Are we ever going to get out?" I said, "Yes, I promise." And I think one of them got a bit impatient. But then when they arrive at the center, there is this feeling, because there is a moment where it really takes you in, and you're just like, "Oh, thank goodness." And just as you say, thank goodness, it takes you all the way out again, right? And on the really big one, it doesn't take you all the way just into the middle. It then takes you all the way to the outside before it brings you back in again. And then you really, just as that moment when you're just like, oh, fuck it, you come into the center. You know, and the magic continues to unfold from there, because of course, it's not like you can stay there. You can't stay in the center all the time. So you got there, but you've got to leave. So there is a lot of finding yourself, and that's why we've been using this metaphor of meeting yourself, because it's a practice that I've been doing for the last, I don't know, 3 years now, right? I've been meeting myself at the beach, 3 years in June. And that started a lot of other different moments where I'm meeting myself and learning about how I operate as a human being, which is really different to how he operates as a human being. Right?
It's true.
I mean, we're diametrically different in a lot of respects of how we coexist beautifully together, but in how we function, it's completely different. And if I try to adapt to Samaj's ways of thinking, I'm probably likely going to fail and come up short, because I think differently, and likewise for him, for me. Yet, in saying that, we can inspire and motivate one another and learn from one another. It's just about the filter through which we see it, and how much of the information we take and feel we have to keep up with, and how much can inform us on our own path. If that makes sense.
It's true.
Right?
It's true.
And the same goes for mindfulness, because mindfulness, meditation, my goodness, if you Google it, what a fucking minefield. Like, seriously. I mean, there's just a... When I started meditation in 1998, there was very little. I mean, we didn't really have the internet so much anyway. There was very little information on it, you know. And now, God, it's everywhere. Meditation, mindfulness, and it's this, and it's that, and it's got to be this way. As far as I'm concerned, really what it's all about is finding out about who you are. Like, the more you can be informed about who you are and how you react to things, then the better equipped you are to go through life, because you can't control everything that comes at you, but you can learn to better control how you react to it. And quite often, our reactions are on autopilot. We don't even initiate them, so to speak, on a conscious level.
No.
So how can we be mindful? How can we change something that we don't even really, we're not even really cognizant is happening?
That's true.
We have to become cognizant.
Yes.
Right? So we watch. We become our own observer. Right?
Right.
This is our own we observe, and they say without judgment. Terribly hard, right? Terribly hard to be an observer without judgment. This is what you're aspiring to. And your best action is your best imperfection, is your best perfect action. But that's what we aspire to. So we become the observer of who we are and what we're doing. And oftentimes it involves reverse engineering as quickly after an event as we can, because that's where we'll generally start. We would have gone into action, and then we've got to kind of work back to find out what they call the trigger, what started it. Because the more we can be aware of the sequence of events, the more we can intervene, right? Because that's what it is. It's the awareness of that sequence of events that you become like, hold on a second. Hey, if I do this, I know it's going to do this. Like if I go shopping on Saturday, which I often do on the way back from the beach, and I buy a bag of Cheez-Its, or I'm really like turning you here, aren't I? Or cheesy puff things, something like that. The orange and nasty and totally yummy. I'm going to eat them. I know this, and I don't want to eat them. So don't buy them, right? But sometimes I do. And I know I'm going to eat them. And then afterwards I'm going to think, gosh, I shouldn't have had those. Now I'm mindful of the fact that that's the sequence of events. So when I pick them up, I know I'm going to go through that I want them. I perhaps, bar, and I didn't. So I say, okay, for this time I'm going to have them. I make peace with that, right? So make peace with it and don't cause that friction. And I don't have it very often, but sometimes I do. But I do know that sequence of events, right? And that's like something quite innocuous. But it's all of these things. We're going to have a little practice at the end. Remind me. Little practice at the end for the end of the week. Well, I might as well do it now. I'll give it to you now, because then we'll talk about it again at the end. One of the best ways to learn about mindfulness and to become more mindful is to do something and see your results. Like that's how you learn about yourself. You set yourself up and then you observe and then you get your results. Sound fair? So in this instance, we're going to use a toothbrush because it's something. We're going to use 10 tips. This is the first week of mindfulness for daily practice, right? That you can use in your daily life. Your toothbrush. So when you come to clean your teeth in the morning, how mindful are you? You walk in, you're half asleep. I don't know where you do it in your sequence, right? But maybe you get straight out of bed and it's one of the first things you do, and toothpaste on, and you're there, even with an electric toothbrush like us. I was recently in an improv class, and that was one of our prompts was that we were in the bathroom cleaning our teeth, and there were like 6 of us on stage. And afterwards, our teacher pointed out to 2 of us and said, "You do have electric toothbrushes, right?" Because we were just like, no noise, different, right? So exactly. So how mindful are we when we clean our teeth, right? How can we actually stay present for that 2 minutes? Especially if you've got an electric toothbrush, it says 2 minutes. And so can you be there cleaning your teeth, right? Cleaning your teeth. Also, when you come to clean your teeth, let's have a little habit trap in here, I like to call these, because we're going to change hands. So if you normally clean your teeth with your right hand, let's do it with the left hand. First of all, it gets a different part of the brain working using your left hand. But second of all, it again shows you in your real life how well and how difficult it is to make a new habit. Even something as easy and innocuous as taking the toothbrush and taking it from one hand. Ma's here. Ma in the house. Taking a toothbrush from one hand and putting it into the other, right? What you might find is that you go, you put it in there. Oh shit, it's supposed to put it in this hand. Thinking about the weather. Oh, supposed to be thinking about my teeth. Right? And try that until next Sunday, right? Each time you clean your teeth, that should be 14 times between now and then, right? Morning and evening. How does that go? So first of all, you want to pick up the toothbrush in the left hand.
Or your non-dominant.
Oh, you're not, sorry, non-dominant hand. Sorry to the lefters. My word, I live with one. You see how that is? Be mindful of the others. Anyway, pick it up with your non-dominant hand, and then try to be present for that 2 minutes. Yeah, and then just see, and then watch. Don't tell yourself off. Nothing's wrong. Just observe. What you're doing now is gathering information. It's a part of your awareness, mindfulness, being aware, just noticing things that's going on, right? Mm-hmm. So notice where you are now, so that you can notice where you are later. Right? Rear view mirror. So
yeah,
you've been quiet.
I'm listening. It's great stuff. Well, yes, it's exactly true, though. You're just observing basically who you are, right? Who am I when I'm brushing my teeth? Just kind of stand back and see what pops up. And a lot will pop up in the beginning.
It's very hard to just stand there and be cleaning
absolutely.
Your teeth. And it's basically an exercise to show you, like then when you want to do something more challenging and something that may have a physical and psychological aspect to it, say giving up smoking or not eating those cheesy crunchy things or whatever it is for you, that you can give yourself some grace, because in the grace that we give ourselves is where we'll find space, and in space that's where change can happen, right? We can't do it in the confines of constriction. So when we can learn a little bit about ourselves and we can give ourselves a little bit of grace for what is, then we allow that space to open up for what will be. There you go. So anyway.
So the word of the day, allow.
Allow.
Yeah, I like it. Just jot that down, shall I?
It's always jotting down these days. He's got loads of notes. I'm not sure what they are, but I keep seeing him taking notes. He's got a little notepad. He's a note taker.
Yes.
Quite funny. Anyway, I'm going to have a little sit because, yeah. Oh.
Cheers. Top of the afternoon.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Espresso.
Cheers. All right. So.
Yes, you can drink coffee before you sit. You can do anything before you sit. Your life, your rules. What matters is that it matters to you, right? And you take from it, as we were saying earlier about prescriptive. I think we lost somewhere on that, but being prescriptive. This is just, it's just inspiration. It's just a way of us coming and really, just even like meeting yourself each week, just having that like, my gosh, a week, and how these weeks build. I don't know what week we're on now. 5, it feels like, but I'm not sure.
Yeah.
See, that's what you. So I've been working out now. It's week 65. Never in my life have I done that. But that build, when we build on something, when we make small changes and we stay consistent and we build on it, we go to a place. So that's what we're doing here. We're building a consistency and a practice that's easy for us, right? There's no extra element except coming here at noon, and we come here for this 30 minutes and that's that. And we can meet ourselves every week. We can do other things in between, but here's just our touchstone, right? With ourselves and with time and with our practice. And then we get to put in that seed, because as much as it's nice to sit here right now, what it really helps us is, I don't know about you, I'm in menopause. Well, I'm post-menopause actually. And so I lay awake a lot of the night completely drenched in my bed and in the dark with mad racing thoughts going through my head. And I start to breathe and I start to try and be mindful of what follow perspiration going down or I feel, because the worry train will come in. So there's lots of ways that we can use it. And today what we're going to do is we're going to sit with our breath to just see how easy it is to be distracted. Once again, with something that's very, very easy and innocuous to do, because that's a great thing to start with, right? There's nothing to lose, but everything to learn. And we're going to use one of the first practices I use from Thich Nhat Hanh, and that's the breath to 10. So you count in is one breath, and count to the next breath is 2, 3, 4. The way I like to do it is breathing in 1, breathing out 1, breathing in 2, breathing out 2. And I just say the number. And then when you think about something else, you go back to 0. And so the aim is, it's not the aim is to get to 10. The aim is that 0 to 10 shows you where your attention is. No good, no bad, just what is, right? So that's what it showed you. And it's kind of fun, right? Do it with eyes closed, eyes not. And once again, many ways to be mindful, many ways to practice a mindfulness practice, many ways to practice meditation. You don't always have to be just sitting. We're just having to do a Sunday sit, this part. We will have other meditations coming in different places. Let's get on to this one. So, did you have anything else?
I did not.
Okay, that's good. I'm going to have a little drink of water. Do you want a drink of water? It's okay to drink water. Okay, so just consider, however is comfortable to you. Let's have a little Joseph Campbell quote, because I want to start it with this. So as you start to get grounded in where you're seated, either you can sit cross-legged like I'm sitting just because it's comfortable. I've got my back against the pillow, but I'm sitting pretty upright. You likewise are the same. So it won't be too slouchy, but then again, the fact that you're here, let everything else be gravy, right? So as you start to, why are you laughing?
I was laughing at me. I was like, okay, I'm sitting okay. It was an internal thing.
So as we start to kind of settle in, there you go, relaxing the shoulders down away from the ears. And just breathing in through the nose and breathing out through the nose. You're not trying to control your breath at all. You're trying to be aware of where it is. Your breath knows what it's doing. You oftentimes have no idea. So this is just you becoming your own observer. So just watching that, breathing in, breathing out, tummy coming out when you breathe in, expanding, exhaling, contracting. Feeling the totality of what it is to be you right now, all the stuff going on in your life. And here you are, sitting here. Taking some time for you. It might have been quite a while since that's happened. Maybe there's a lot going on. Perhaps you can visualize that there's a place that you can be seated here right now with all the stuff in your life still in motion, maybe like visualizing it like a tornado around you, in that it's whirring around in a circle, and there is a spot in the middle where you can sit with an awareness and yet not be touched by it. This place in the middle of the tornado where you can sit and you know the things are there, and yet you're not touched by them. for these moments. And that when things get too close in real life, outside of your practice, off your mat, that you can remember this place in the middle where you can sit in safety, but with an awareness of all the things that are consuming you and touching you. Because if you look to your experience, to what you've accomplished right now, sitting here, nothing's taken you out so far. Everything you've ever dreaded, every bad experience you've ever had, you're still here, like a weevil, wobbling, but you can't fall down. We sometimes forget that in our difficult times. We get consumed by it. But if we can be mindful of the fact that we're getting caught up in events that have yet to happen and may never happen, and we can bring ourselves back to this little piece of peace in the center where we can sit in safety with awareness of all the things in our lives going on around us without them touching us just for this time. It doesn't mean we don't get to take care of them or that they might overwhelm us. It's most likely they will. They won't take us down. And most likely we will rise up higher on the other side. It doesn't make it easier, but it can be good to know this as we're going through it, to become aware of our own resilience, not in avoiding what is coming at us, but in more skillfully getting our way through, because we are more mindful of our own reactions and therefore we can intervene and be our own interventionist. And now as we seat ourselves in that space, with everything whirring around the edges without touching us, we start the practice of breathing to 10. Inhaling and exhaling 1, and then 2, and then 3. At your own pace, being your own observer. Letting your breath come easy and naturally. When the mind wanders, bring it back gently, gracefully, as many times as it takes. It's not about how many times we wander, but how well we can bring ourselves back. yourself to absorb any sounds that are going on around you, knowing that this is a moving world. We do not seek silence on the outside to find our own peace on the inside. And now, taking a nice long inhale and exhale to round off this practice. You can open your eyes. There we go. We're going to end with that Joseph Campbell quote. We have not even to risk the adventure alone. The labyrinth is thoroughly known. We have only to follow the thread of the hero path, and where we thought to slay another, we shall slay ourselves. Where we had thought to travel outward, we will come to the center of our existence. And where we had thought to be alone, we will be with all the world. I hope there's a place that you can find, like my mornings on the beach, where one can be alone with all the world. It's definitely been a lonely 2 years for me, for sure. And probably for you. And yet, there's much peace to be had with ourselves. So, maybe find that first.
Absolutely. That was a tough one, huh?
It was a tough one.
Yeah, it was hard to get past like two. If I had to be honest, right?
Well,
Because
do
I
be
had to
honest.
actually like think back and go, hey, did I just have the thought going? Do I go back to one? I was like, yes, you did. I was thinking about my core workout after this. Like, just a subtle little thought, maybe like not 5 seconds, but back to one. Because it's that subtle. It doesn't have to be big, huge thoughts. It just, you can see how these external thoughts just kind of creep in, like, hey, and they just kind of flow on out. And that's what we're practicing, mindfulness. That they don't stay around. You just don't get kind of just
Caught up.
yeah, engulfed by these thoughts. Oh my God, what do I have to do? Oh, there's shopping, there's core work. Oh, I gotta get on the bike. Oh,
So much. And it's
But
informational.
Absolutely, because you're just checking yourself.
Yeah. It's just information. It's not, and we're not aiming to be mindful every minute of the day. I don't care what anybody says.
No.
We're just trying to learn to tap into ourselves a little bit more.
Yeah, it's just a fun little game to play with yourself. Like, oh my goodness.
It's just a fun little game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it.
That way you're not stressing yourself out.
Don't stress.
It's not meant to be a stress.
No. So,
it's meant to be a benefit.
well, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
For meeting yourself, because, well, when you start to meet yourself and you really, really start to meet yourself and know yourself, that's a friendship that is just going to pay you in multitudes. Because when you start to meet yourself and know your own mind, you can get your mind on board. And when you can get your mind on board, then you can do anything you set your mind to. It's a magic place to be. We'll see you next week.